Every athlete out there has his narration of injuries and incidents, but then a time comes where an injury gets so filthy that it lives on in notoriety to gross everyone out for the next few decades. The NBA athletes aren't any different, as their injuries happened either due to bad landing or collisions with another player. The only difference with the NBA is that there's far less in terms of equipment and clothing to camouflage what we're seeing. So what you get to see is the human body twisted and contorted in ways that never should have happened in the first place. With knees twisting, ankles rolling, blood flowing, and bones popping, the only thing that protects you from getting a good view is the hand covering your eyes. The most compelling fact about these injuries is that they are impossible to sit and watch, but we invite you to do so and join us in this journey of the 10 scariest injuries in the history of the NBA. 10. Shaun Livingston's knee. If you haven't seen what kind of a scare an injury can bring to an athlete, then you need to watch this one. Unfortunately, the footage that shows how agonizing Livingston's injury was is available across the internet, and if you haven't seen it, just take a look at it with us. Livingston's knee bent completely in the opposite direction that knees should, and to make it all worse, it folded up underneath him. And just like his knee bent, his promising career was also taken down in its early stages. The injury took Livingston out in 2007, and he couldn't play again until late in the 2009 season, as he was taken on by Miami and Oklahoma City on separate occasions. He played his first near full season in 2011 with the Charlotte Bobcats, a time when even he was happy to wear that uniform. 9. Kermit Washington's punch. Playing NBA and fearing a punch is not for the ill-hearted. It's the punch that makes or breaks a legend. We can debate over this punch in particular, whether it was fair or not, but this would follow Kermit Washington around for the rest of his life. During a bit of a heat-up between the Los Angeles Lakers and Houston Rockets, Washington was hanging around the main fight, just protecting his guys, when Rudy Tomjanovich came sprinting in. A split-second decision led to Washington rearing back and unloading on Tomjanovich's face, leading to his head bouncing off the court. Tomjanovich was crazily bleeding, and once he was taken to the hospital, the only thing that could be heard on the court was Kermit Washington broke Rudy's face. Kermit was a goon in the real sense, and it was his hustle and build that made up for his offensive skills. We've rarely witnessed punches as devastating as this in all of sports. 8. Marquise scares us all. Every one of us can recall watching this injury happen live as well, as it seemed to last for hours even though just a few minutes had passed. Marquise Daniels' head whipped around after an awkward collision and he went straight to the ground. He didn't roll, he didn't wince, he didn't grab anything. Nothing. Just stillness prevailed. Minutes passed like molasses running, and the commentators got that "something terrible is happening" tone, as it seemed like everyone feared for the worst for Daniels.
That initial hit is what has caused the problem for Daniels.
Finally, after what seemed like ages had passed, Daniels made a few movements, showing us that he was still alive. The aftermath of this whole chaotic scenario resulted in a bruised spine for Daniels and a hell of a scare for everyone who witnessed that injury live. 7. Jamal Crawford's neck breaks his fall. This is one of those injuries where the audience just went silent for a second until they saw the player actually move again.
Good 10 minutes, and for precautionary measures, they took him out on the stretcher. They put the neck brace on.
Anytime you see a guy go off on a stretcher, you know something bad just happened. But when they land directly on their neck like that, it's even worse. Lucky for Jamal, all that happened to him was a neck sprain, as he was released from the hospital the very next day. But what we NBA lovers comprehended was far from the obvious. It was just one of those cases that you couldn't help but feel bad for him. 6. Andrew Bogut's elbow. While playing NBA, none of the players can predict what's in store for them at the court, besides the win and lose situation. This is what happened with Andrew Bogut's arm, as it got folded up underneath him awkwardly as he fell to the ground in a heap. This has been the most painful looking of all injuries, as Bogut went down quickly and without warning, and you could tell from the get-go it was awkward.
And can't tell if Stat's right arm pushed him in the back or if he just tried to, get out of the way.
Bogut suffered a dislocated elbow, a broken hand, and a sprained wrist, which sidelined him for the season for 2 years. 5. Allen Ray's eye. This is one of those injuries that look extremely dramatic on TV, or we can forever call it a classic Alan Ray injury. That time Ray was still in college and got poked in the eye, and as a result, you could actually see his eye bulging out of the socket as it became dislocated. This one can surely give you chills, doesn't it? Stay tuned till the end to see for yourself, as the worst is yet to come with the deadliest punch in all of NBA history. 4. Tony Allen shouldn't have dunked. We all make decisions in life, and some of the round pegs don't fit our squares perfectly. Rather, they haunt us for the rest of our lives. This is exactly what happened to Tony Allen, who had decided to impress everyone, but what happened to him as a result will be remembered forever. His momentum took him a little too far forward, and he landed awkwardly on his knee, leading to his knee folding under him. What happened was a torn anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, torn medial meniscus, and a torn lateral meniscus, and months in rehab just to get back on the court. Still, he wasn't in the same shape as before, as his motion and knee flexibility were greatly compromised.
The wrong way on the knee.
He is in a lot of pain out there right now.
Allen recalls that incident on a daily basis by watching the video of that match until the point he received his horrendous injury. 3. Steve Nash pops nose back in. The worst or scariest part of this injury is not its occurrence, but here you can see what happened afterwards that sure gave us chills.
Stay on the bench, and his son struggled without him. Barbosa.
What happened in the NBA arena is when Steve Nash got punched in the nose by Derek Fisher, leaving his nose dangling from his face. Now, what we normals would do here differs from what Steve did. Instead of stepping over to the sidelines, taking his seat, and allowing it to get back into place, Nash grabbed his nose and literally popped it back in place. 2. Josh Howard's knee wobble. The most gut-wrenching injuries that we see on any video don't remind us how grueling the injury is, but it reminds us how it would feel like if our knees went the wrong way. It's for that reason that everyone in the arena groans and feels that pain simultaneously. This is precisely the moment when Josh Howard sprained his knee in Chicago back in 2010. We could all feel his pain, even though most of us had never had a knee sprain bad enough to require surgery. We've all felt a bit of knee wobble that leaves us on the ground for some time. 1. Joel Przbilla's knee. This was one incident through which you could see what a knee injury can do to us mortals. The reaction of Joel Przbilla is a tell-all expression. In this incident, Joel Przbilla's landed in a way that looked uncomfortable with his knee completely locked when he hit the ground. However, it didn't look too serious, but we realized that it was indeed serious. Pain shot through his body as he was sent off his feet, and he had nowhere to go but down as he then landed on his right leg with a ruptured and dislocated patella. So fellas, this was a roundup of the 10 scariest injuries of all time. Let us know in the comments if we missed anything so that we can schedule it for our next video. Also, let us know what content you would like to see in our upcoming videos. Until then, take good care. Bye.